Oh my god. Did he just say that? That is not a good thing for productivity. So Apple just announced a whole set of new features for your iPhones and your iPads and your Macs and whatnot. And I watched their conference with one question in mind. For me, the question is, will this stuff actually help me be more productive? And what I found might shock you. The entire thing is just such a flex, isn't it? Okay, this isn't productivity related, I'm sorry, but always these massive transitions, they're giant building and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, look at how much money we have. But I guess, if you're like the richest company in the world, you might as well. The gratuitous, expensive transition.
Now, let's talk about iOS. Together with iPhone, iOS helps you get so much done, whether you're at home or on the move.
So it's interesting that the framing is, it helps you get so much done. I wonder if there's going to be anything good here, because right away, the most productive thing you can generally do with your phone is like not have it with you.
In iOS 16, we're bringing the biggest update ever to the lock screen. Here's my lock screen. You'll notice the subtle depth effect with my daughters appearing in front of the time. I really love it. Now, if I just press and hold, I can personalize it further.
So right away, from a productivity perspective, just don't do any of that. Right? Because all you're doing is you're spending time doing something that's just, it doesn't matter. And you're making your phone a more attractive thing. Personally, I don't want my phone to be more attractive. I want it to be less alluring. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff here, but for me, there's immediately like skip. I'm personally not going to do any of this.
With Photo Shuffle, I can choose a set of photos to shuffle throughout the day.
That's a great thing also to avoid. Okay, you don't want your wallpaper to be shuffling through photos because that creates a variable reward, right? Where every time you pick up your phone, you're not sure what you're going to get, and maybe it's a photo that brings up nostalgic memories or whatever. That's a variable reward, which is one of the things that creates addiction. So that is a very much no-go feature if you're interested in being productive and undistracted.
I've created a bunch of other lock screens, and by simply swiping, I can switch between them. It's amazing the range you can create. Here's weather, which shows live weather conditions, like a downpour and lightning.
Then also another note on that, you don't want to give yourself more choice. Oh, which lock screen should I use, right? And widgets in general, is very rare that a widget is actually useful. Does it give you at a glance information that actually helps you, or is it just a distraction?
Choice of a photo and widgets can all be tied to a particular focus. And now that you can have multiple lock screens, you can match them to the appropriate focus throughout your day.
I can see how you could make an argument for, here's my setup with these different focus modes, and I psychologically cue myself into different modes of being and so on. I'm not going to do any of that. I want to have a very minimal relationship with my phone inside and outside of work.
With focus filters, which let you filter out distracting content. Instead of seeing all of your websites, you can turn on the work focus filter and see only the tabs that relate to work.
Why do you have 1,000 tabs open? The solution is don't have 1,000 tabs open.
Now, when I start dictating, the keyboard stays open, so I can switch between using voice and touch. I can even select text using touch and replace it with my voice.
All right, so voice typing features, this could be a legit productivity feature. I avoid writing any kind of text on the phone. I use the keyboard because I can type way faster, right? So in general, I wouldn't want to be writing an email on the phone. But if you are writing on the phone, voice typing could actually save you time. So I'm happy to see this, and I'm definitely going to test this out.
Apple Watch continues to be the most loved watch in the world because it helps you stay connected, active, and healthy. You can stay connected to what matters to you most just by glancing at your wrist. Whether you use the popular Photos watch face or a face with rich complications.
So Apple Watch, I would immediately launch into why this is all, terrible distraction and whatnot, but I'm wearing one, so maybe I shouldn't be a hypocrite. But I think a lot of this, right, also the best way to use your watch is to turn off almost all the features, right? I think as a passive tracking device and as a very occasional reminder type device, it's great. But most of this stuff is see stuff at a glance, get notified on your wrist. It's turn all of that off. Please don't let them tell you that this is somehow making you more productive. It is not.
The astronomy face has been remastered to take advantage of the expansive display and shows current cloud coverage around the world.
This is so impressive, but it's not useful.
With WatchOS 9, the podcast app allows you to discover and follow new podcasts using search and listen now. And the app is
Like if you're scrolling through a list of podcasts on your wrist on this little screen, like something's gone wrong, you know? I don't know. Some of this stuff, I don't know.
M2 is built using an enhanced second-generation 5nm technology and features over 20 billion transistors, which delivers 100 GB per second of unified memory bandwidth.
So anyway, blah, 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 it's faster, right? M2, is this a productivity thing? Well, basically yes, right? It never hurts to have a faster machine. And especially, you know, if it's thin and light and doesn't overheat and stuff, that is actually a productivity boost. It's great to have a fast, not overheating machine. So thumbs up for this.
macOS plays a critical role in our lives as we work, collaborate with colleagues, family, and friends, create and organize what's important to us.
So this, I'm excited about this because this is where I spend most of my working time, right? I avoid working on other devices for the most part. I am doing most of my work in the macOS environment. So please, please, please give me some stuff that makes me more productive. Let's see.
This year, we focused on making the core things you do with macOS even better, delivering new ways to be productive.
New ways to be productive. I can't wait.
A key part of the Mac experience is helping you be productive and creative, which can often mean having a lot of windows open at once. And the more you do, the more overwhelming this can become.
Why? We should never have this many windows open. Like, how is this productive? Okay, but let's see what they got.
This year, we have a new way to automatically keep everything organized and give you quick access to your windows. It's called Stage Manager.
It's like this is a productivity problem, right? If you find yourself with lots of open windows, the feature that already exists is called Command Q. Like you go to the window and you hit Command Q to get rid of it. That's the productivity hack, right? But let's see, Stage Manager thing, yeah.
But with so many open windows, it can feel like you never really escape all the clutter. With Stage Manager, you can focus on the app you're using without the distractions. And it's easy to get started.
It's like, hold on, right? You want to focus on the app you're using without distractions. So first of all, don't have all these apps open. Secondly, just expand the window to the full screen. Like what you need borders around your window. How does that help, right? So is that the trick? Like, do they add a button where you just expand the window and not have all this clutter on the screen? That would be amazing, right?
From Control Center. As you see, it automatically arranges all my windows for me off to the side.
This is just a different type of clutter. Like, this is literally taking the mess and sweeping it under the rug, right? It's like you have a rug on the side of your screen where you can sweep your mess. And look at the amount of wasted screen space here. This is a terrible setup. You're wasting so much of your screen space all around that window because it looks aesthetic. Oh, I have a floating window. No, expand that thing. Use your screen space. And then look at all this garbage in the dock, right? It's just such a waste of screen space. That's incredible. You paid good money for this big screen. Use it, right? And now you just have the clutter. How is this better? You have the clutter permanently visible on the side instead of behind your window. Man, they're going to have to do something amazing to win me over here.
With just a click on my desktop, my windows clear the stage.
Oh my God. Your desktop should not look like this. There are folder structures that you can use to organize your files. You have one Finder window open where you can easily access any file you need. Oh, or just spread them across your desktop, I guess. That's productive, right?
So that's a quick look at multitasking with Stage Manager.
Man, okay, when I talk about how to make operating systems more productive, I talk a lot about all the stuff you shouldn't use. There's just another one, like, don't use this. If you feel like this is a feature you need, something's gone wrong, right? Something's gone wrong earlier in the process. This is terrible.
Spotlight is great for doing all kinds of things, like quickly launching an app.
Mostly for that, right? Spotlight is great for quickly launching an app and not many other things, I think.
Spotlight can now also find images from your photo library across the system and on the web.
That's
and
neat.
using live text, you can search the text inside the image.
Yeah, that's really useful. I think that, finding stuff faster with features like that can be a real time saver. So absolutely, thumbs up for that.
It's also a great way to get information, now leveraging the full window for richer results. It's also great for movies, TV shows and actors, and sports.
Yeah, so this is kind of one step forward, one step back, right? Some of these features are useful. Spotlight is great for, bringing it up, getting something done very quickly. And now here's or you can look at a page of distractions. That's not useful. In fact, that makes it worse. I hope you can turn this off, right? Because you don't want just another source of potential distraction.
We wanted to make Spotlight even easier to discover and access, so we added it right to the bottom of the home screen.
You can already do this by just swiping down, no? Wait, am I imagining things? Hold on. That's it, basically. Swipe down. How is it useful to add a button somewhere? Okay, I guess many people don't know this, but yeah, swipe down. That's the way to do it.
Use powerful cryptographic techniques and the biometrics built into your device to keep accounts safe. Passkeys can't be phished. Since the passkey never leaves your devices, hackers can't trick you into sharing it on a fake website. And passkeys...
So this is really cool, and I think it's mildly productivity related because most people struggle with passwords, right? Most people don't have a good system to make sure that all their passwords are safe and well managed and so on and so forth. So a user experience and getting hacked, having someone steal your password, having someone log into your bank account and stuff like that, right, is very unproductive experience, costs a lot of your time. But also bad password management is also something that costs time. So essentially removing the need for the user to have any kind of knowledge, right, where it's just hey, don't even worry about it, all of this is secure and unhackable and you don't have to think about it. That is where we need to go in order to make safe, good password management truly productive and efficient for everyone.
Next, let's have some fun and talk about gaming.
Games continue to push the boundaries and appear more realistic than ever before.
ご覧ください。滑らかに描写されたこの恐ろしくも
I think, from a productivity perspective, the best thing would be for just no games on Mac. None. Zero. Right? That would be great because it would mean that you can have this work machine and there's no temptation at all. There's nothing to resist. You just cannot play any games, which is how I kind of feel because I've never looked into it. I don't know what games exist on this platform. I kind of assume only bad ones do. Is probably not true, but I think that used to be true, right? And so I get it. It's probably great for Apple if there's more gaming adaptation on their platform. From a pure productivity perspective, 0 games would be perfect.
And now, with Continuity Camera, you can use iPhone as your webcam. Now, I'm just gonna pop this stand on my iPhone and attach it to my display.
I mean, that's amazing, right? You can use your iPhone as a webcam and it's all happens by itself and stuff. This is so cool. It makes so much sense. Is it productive? I don't know. Maybe for what I'm doing right now, which is I'm recording something, right? I'm recording content and I have an external camera. And instead of that with all the cables and whatnot that I have here, you just have your iPhone. That's actually kind of cool and it's portable. So yeah, this could be for creators, for video creators very specifically, this could be really useful.
Let's start with collaboration. Means a conversation with your collaborators is always just a tap away.
So collaboration features, generally this is good stuff because if you think about what does it look like when I try to collaborate on something with other people on my team, it's usually a whole bunch of extra steps, right? It's usually kind of annoying.
Freeform is a great place to pull it all together, including photos, video, audio, documents.
Also, let me say that, the features of something like this, so having a collaborative canvas where you can do anything with a team and so on while you're on a call, in principle, that can be a productive, useful feature. But whether it's productive or not, whether it helps you reach your goals or not, will 99% depend on your workflow. What system do you use? What rules do you have about what goes on here? How do we make this useful? How do we streamline this? How do we not just make this a huge mess of distraction? That is almost all about the systems you work with, how you work, and much less about the tools you work with.
Of course, the versatility of iPad means you can seamlessly move from being productive to gaming.
Oh my god, did you just say that? you can seamlessly move from being productive to gaming. That is not a good thing for productivity.
Pros are always wanting more space to work with, so we're adding a new display scaling setting, which allows you to increase the pixel density of the display so you can view more in your apps, which is particularly helpful when using split view.
Yeah, scaling the display, I think that's actually really useful. It essentially gives you more screen space. Although all of this, I have to say all of this with a caveat, right? It's like if you're trying to do productive work, you probably shouldn't be on an iPad to begin with. So maybe it doesn't matter.
So we're bringing Stage Manager, our latest windowing system that you just saw in macOS, to iPadOS. Stage Manager takes multitasking on iPad to a whole new level.
Maybe that explains why, like on the desktop, it seems like, what are you doing? And I think this maybe explains why their design constraint was like, you have to make a thing that works on the iPad as well. Although having said that, I wouldn't use it on the iPad either. I don't know. Just don't have this many windows open, honestly.
I can use Apple Pencil to add a finishing touch to my drawing. And now I can jump back into the gallery and then drag and drop across displays and into my deck. And that...
Did you see how awkward that was? It's like, I feel like this is an evolution towards just a really awkward, not quite customizable, not quite the way you want desktop OS experience, right? It's like, oh, you can kind of have these windows and you can resize them a bit and then they kind of automatically float in position and stuff. It's like, if you come from a comparison of, well, this is maybe more efficient, maybe better than how I worked with the iPad before, it's like, oh, this is an upgrade, it's more productive. But if you basically forget everything and just ask yourself, is this a good way to work? You're like, no, what is going on? What am I doing? So that's my impression of this, is like, don't use this.
And that's iPadOS 16.
So those are some productivity wins and some productivity fails that I found in these new announcements. And maybe you're thinking, well, that seems fairly well balanced, right? You win some, you lose some. But my conclusion is actually that the majority of these new features are unproductive. And here's why. The thing is that some of these productivity wins are good, but they're small, they're marginal gains. Whereas some of the productivity fails are big fails. Like, think about it. Let's say you get a new MacBook Air with the new chip, and it's an upgrade over your old system and it's faster and smoother. And yes, that's a productivity win, but it's a fairly minor productivity win. Because look, even the fastest computer on Earth is not going to save you if your productivity system is lacking. If you don't have a good way to set priorities, make sure you get the most important tasks done, manage your files, your apps, your schedule, and so on. If you don't have a system that is productive, no hardware or software in the world is going to save you. On the other hand, things like customizable lock screens and notifications on your phone, and the thing where you can manage your clutter by rearranging your clutter, these things actually encourage some of the worst things we can do for our productivity. Things like being constantly distracted, things like having a phone on hand that every time you pick it up, something exciting is happening. Things like having too many windows open, having files spread all over your desktop, having a mess. These are big detriments to your productivity. Now, don't get me wrong, I use these Apple products and Apple software, and I use them very productively. These are not bad products. But I think these announcements of new features just illustrates that what has always been true is still true. You can't buy productivity. It always has been, and it still is your responsibility to use these tools well and to essentially enforce your own productivity system onto these tools, because by default, these tools will do all kinds of unproductive things. If you just say yes to every single new feature that comes along in all of these tools, you'll end up a distracted mess. And it's interesting to see that, because the language in these presentations is always about productivity and efficiency, and it's so much better than before. So I guess, in the immortal words of Flava Flav, don't believe the hype. So that's my bottom line conclusion. As before, it is still up to you to make sure that the systems you use are productive. And if you'd like to see exactly how I recommend you use macOS in a highly productive and efficient way, here's a 10-minute video that walks you through everything you need to know. So go and give that a watch next.